Alright, let me talk to you for a moment. Let me be very, very clear about something. We sit here, day in and day out, debating the greats. We talk about legacies, we talk about rings, we talk about who's the GOAT. But there's a conversation that needs to be had, a conversation that is long overdue. We're talking about eras. We're talking about two distinct periods in the annals of professional basketball history. The gritty, physical, ISO-heavy, no blood, no foul era of the 2000s against the sharp-shooting, positionless, high-flying, analytics-driven era of the 2020s. It's an argument that rages in every barbershop, every sports bar, every corner of the internet. You see, it's one thing to compare stats on a piece of paper. It's another thing entirely to imagine these titans, these icons, these larger-than-life personalities stepping onto the hardwood against one another. Can you picture it? The sheer force of will, the unmitigated gall, the absolute basketball brilliance on one single court. We're talking about legends who defined a generation against the new blood. The young guns who are carving out their own legacies right before our very eyes. This isn't just about who's better. This is about style, it's about philosophy, it's about the very soul of the game of basketball. It's a clash of titans, a battle of basketball ideologies. So, right now I need you to listen to me. I need you to really think about this. Forget the stats for a second. Forget what the talking heads tell you. I want you to feel it in your gut. When these two eras collide, when these superstars go head-to-head in a mythical 7-game series with everything on the line, who do you think would come out on top? Don't answer yet. Just let that marinate. Because today we are going to break it down, matchup by matchup, and it's going to be something special. Stay right there. Now let's get down to brass tacks. In the paint, under the basket, where the big boys play, we start with the most dominant force this game has ever seen. And I mean ever. Shaquille O'Neal, the big Aristotle, the Diesel. A man who was a walking, talking, breathing basketball anomaly. You couldn't stop him. You could only hope to contain him, and even that was a fool's errand. You had to foul him, send him to the line, and pray. He was pure, unadulterated physical brute force. He would back you down, drop step, and shatter the backboard and your confidence simultaneously. There was no finesse necessary because his power was the ultimate finesse. And in this corner, you've got Joel Embiid, the process. Now let me be clear, Embiid is a special talent, a truly gifted big man for the modern era. He can post you up, yes, he has the footwork, the dream shake, the power, but then he'll step out and drain a three-pointer right in your face. He'll put the ball on the floor from the top of the key and drive past you like a guard. He is the evolution of the center position. He combines old-school power with new-school skill in a way we've rarely seen. He's a nightmare matchup for anyone in today's NBA. He is a phenomenal all-NBA caliber player, make no mistake about it. But here's the rub. Here's the question you have to ask yourself. Embiid's finesse, his shooting touch, his versatility, is that an advantage? Or is it a sidestep from the real battle? Shaq isn't guarding you on the perimeter. Shaq is living in that paint. He is making you come into his office. And in his office, he's the boss, the CEO, and the janitor who's going to clean you up. Can Embiid's modern game withstand the relentless physical onslaught of prime Shaquille O'Neal for 48 minutes? Or would the sheer unmitigated power of the Diesel prove that some forces of nature are simply timeless and cannot be schemed against? That is the question. Let's move to the wing. Let's talk about the artists, the assassins, the cold-blooded killers. And you simply cannot have that conversation without starting with the late, great Kobe Bean Bryant, the Black Mamba. The man was not a basketball player. He was a basketball psychopath in the most complimentary way possible. His footwork was impeccable, a ballet of brutality. His fadeaway jumper was one of the most unguardable, aesthetically pleasing, and lethal weapons in the history of sports. He wanted the last shot, he demanded the last shot, he lived for the pressure, he thrived in the fire, and he had a will to win that was, quite frankly, terrifying. Now you look at today's game and you see the echoes, you see the inspiration, and you see Devin Booker. When you watch Book play, the comparisons are not just lazy, they are earned. The silky smooth jumper, the mastery of the mid-range game, an art form that many have abandoned. The footwork, the pivots, the ability to create a sliver of space and get his shot off against anybody. He has that same assassin's gene. You see it in the playoffs when the lights are brightest. He isn't afraid of the moment. He seeks it out. He wants to be the guy to stick the dagger in your heart. He is the purest scorer of his generation, and he carries that Mamba torch with reverence and with skill. But here is where we must delineate. Kobe's killer instinct was forged in a different fire. He came up against the bad boy Pistons in spirit, the hand-checking, the physicality. He wasn't just trying to outscore you, he was trying to break you mentally and spiritually. Booker is a phenomenal scorer, a champion in the making, no doubt. But could he handle the relentless psychological and physical warfare a prime Kobe Bryant would wage on him for a 7-game series? Would Booker's incredible offensive arsenal be enough to overcome the 5-time champion who played defense with the same vicious intensity that he played offense? It's a fascinating clash of two beautiful yet deadly basketball artists. Alright, let's talk about the power forward spot. And this right here is a battle of basketball ideology. On one side, you have the most fundamentally sound, the most unshakable, the most quietly dominant player of his generation, and maybe even of all time, Tim Duncan, the big fundamental. There was nothing flashy about Timmy. He wasn't going to be on highlight reels every night. He wasn't going to sell 1 million sneakers with his high-flying antics. He was just going to show up, use the backboard on a 15-foot bank shot, grab 15 rebounds, play impeccable position defense, and win. He was the eye of the hurricane, the calm, steady, and ultimately unstoppable force that led to 5 NBA championships. His greatness wasn't loud, it was profound. And on the other side, you have a force of nature, a basketball tsunami, Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak. This man is a marvel of athletic evolution. A 7-footer who can handle the ball like a point guard, cross you over, and then take 2 steps from the 3-point line to dunk on your entire team. His game is loud, it is violent, it is an athletic spectacle that we have never, ever witnessed before. He is a runaway freight train in transition. He is a defensive player of the year who can guard all 5 positions on the floor. He is pure, unadulterated, explosive athleticism combined with a relentless motor. He is a champion, an MVP, a modern-day basketball god. So what happens when the immovable object meets the unstoppable force? This is the ultimate test. Does Tim Duncan's perfect positioning, his fundamental brilliance, his basketball IQ, can that neutralize the raw, explosive power of Giannis? Can he force Giannis into being a jump shooter? Or does Giannis's sheer athleticism and versatility prove to be too much? Can he just simply run past, jump over, and power through the fundamental perfection of Tim Duncan? This isn't just about 2 players, this is a referendum on the game itself. Is basketball a game of angles and intellect, or is it a game of speed and power? I'm telling you, this one right here, and this one is tough. Let's talk about the little guys, the giants of heart, the cultural icons, and we have to start with the man who changed the game, who changed the culture, Allen Iverson, the answer. Pound for pound, the greatest. You hear me? He was listed at 6 feet, and that was a lie. And he was out there, night after night, taking a beating, getting knocked down, and getting right back up to cross you out of your shoes and score. The crossover, the cornrows, the sleeve. He was a cultural phenomenon who played with more heart, more grit, more sheer will than anyone I have ever seen. He was fearless. He took on giants and won. He carried an entire city on his back all the way to the NBA Finals. He was a revolution in sneakers. And now, you look at the game today, and you see that same spirit, that same explosive, defy-the-odds energy in Ja Morant. This kid plays with a pogo stick in his shoes. He is absolutely electric. He attacks the rim with a reckless abandon that is both terrifying and exhilarating to watch. He believes he can jump over and dunk on absolutely anyone, and half the time he's right. He has that same chip on his shoulder, that same me against the world mentality that AI had. He is must-see TV. When Ja Morant is on the court, you cannot look away, because you might miss something that you've never seen before. He is a walking, breathing highlight reel. But let's be real. Let's have a serious conversation. Iverson did it in an era of hand-checking, of physical, brutal defense. The lane was clogged with giants waiting to take his head off, and he went in there anyway. Ja plays in an era of spacing, where the lane is wide open for him to take flight. Could Ja Morant have withstood the physical punishment that Allen Iverson endured every single night? And on the flip side, could AI have been even more dominant with the spacing of today's game? It's a battle of 2 undersized guards with oversized hearts who captured the imagination of the league. Who had the bigger impact? Who was more unstoppable? Last but certainly not least, let's talk about the new age bigs, the guys who do it all. And it starts with one of the most intense, one of the most versatile, one of the most passionate players to ever step on the floor, Kevin Garnett, the big ticket, KG. He changed what it meant to be a power forward. He could handle the ball, he could shoot the mid-range jumper, but my God, the defense. The man was a defensive anchor and a rover all at once. He talked trash, he got in your head, he directed traffic like a field general, and he could switch on to any player on the court and lock them down. His intensity was legendary. It was his greatest weapon. He willed the Boston Celtics to a championship with his fire. And his modern counterpart? Another basketball unicorn, Anthony Davis, the brow. AD is a defensive monster. There is nothing he cannot do on that end of the floor. He can protect the rim with the best of them, swatting shots into the third row. But then he can step out on the perimeter and move his feet with a point guard on a switch. He is a defensive chameleon. And offensively, he's just as versatile. He can roll to the rim for a thunderous dunk, he can pop out for a three-pointer, he can handle the ball in transition. He is on paper the perfect big man for the modern NBA, a champion in his own right who can impact the game in every conceivable way. But this matchup comes down to one thing for me. It comes down to mentality. It comes down to that fire. Anthony Davis is a phenomenal, once-in-a-generation talent. But Kevin Garnett was a basketball madman. He played every single possession like it was Game 7 of the NBA Finals. He would try to mentally disintegrate you. Would AD's superior offensive versatility and three-point range be enough to overcome the sheer, unyielding psychological and defensive warfare that KG would bring for 48 minutes? Or would the big ticket's legendary intensity prove to be the ultimate trump card in a battle of two of the most skilled, versatile bigs the game has ever seen? So there you have it, 5 matchups, 10 legends, a clash of eras, a clash of styles, a clash of basketball philosophies. We've laid out the arguments. We've talked about the brute force of Shaq against the skilled finesse of Embiid. We've dissected the killer instinct of Kobe and Devin Booker. We've debated the fundamental genius of Tim Duncan against the athletic marvel of Giannis. We've marveled at the heart of Allen Iverson and Ja Morant. And we've analyzed the all-around dominance of Kevin Garnett and Anthony Davis. Each matchup is a story unto itself, a debate that could rage on for hours. But this isn't about my opinion. I've said my piece. This is about you. This is about the fans. This is for everyone who has ever sat and argued with their friends about who was truly the best, who would win in a one-on-one, who would win in a 7-game series. Does the physicality and grit of the 2000s prevail, or does the skill, shooting, and athleticism of the 2020s reign supreme? There is no right or wrong answer, only your answer. I want to know what you think. I want to hear your arguments, your passionate defenses of your favorite players and your favorite era. This is where the real conversation begins. This is where you take over. I want you to go down into that comment section and let me have it. Break down each matchup, one by one. Who wins Shaq versus Embiid? Kobe versus Booker? Duncan versus Giannis? Iverson versus Ja? And Garnett versus Davis? Don't be shy. Defend your picks. Debate with each other. This is what being a fan is all about. This is the lifeblood of the game we all love so dearly. Let us know your picks in the comments below.